All right, get ready for some truly mind-bending facts about the world around us. We're going to kick things off with a puzzle that honestly just doesn't seem possible. So, check this out. See this tiny little piece of ceramic? Well, this thing can instantly shatter a car window, a window that even a hammer might just bounce off of. So, how is that even possible? Don't worry, we're going to come back to this one. I promise you an answer by the end. Okay, so first up, let's dive into some stuff that honestly feels like magic. But spoiler alert, it's not magic. It's just some really, really weird science. Have you ever seen a liquid pour itself? No, really, I'm talking about this stuff, polyethylene glycol. Now, you know water has tiny H2O molecules, right? Well, this stuff, its molecules are absolutely massive. They form these incredibly long, heavy chains, and that unique structure lets it do something, well, something pretty amazing. So here's how it works. You just tilt the container and pour a tiny bit over the edge. And because those molecules are so heavy and linked together like, a literal chain, that first little stream starts to fall and just pulls the rest of the liquid with it. It creates its own siphon and empties the whole container. It's wild. It's the perfect way to actually see molecular attraction at work. Okay, quick pop quiz for you. Imagine you take a piece of iron wool, like the stuff you use for scrubbing pots, and you set it on fire. Now, common sense tells us that when you burn something, it turns to ash and gets lighter, right? So, what do you think? Does this burning iron wool get lighter or heavier? Believe it or not, it actually gets heavier. I know, it sounds totally wrong, but this is one of those great moments where our intuition just completely fails us. See, when you burn iron, it isn't just vanishing into smoke, it's having a chemical reaction. It's called oxidation. The iron atoms are grabbing onto oxygen atoms from the air, and they're bonding together to make iron oxide, rust. So you're not losing mass, you're actually adding the mass of all that oxygen to it. And it's not just physics that can mess with our heads. Our own brains are experts at playing tricks on us. You've probably heard of that famous audio illusion, right? Where you might hear brainstorm or green needle, just depending on which word you're reading on the screen. It works because the sound itself is kind of muddy. It's ambiguous. So your brain just grabs that visual cue, the word you're reading, and uses it to decide what you're hearing. It's the same deal with the spinning horse. The image doesn't really have any clues about which way it's turning, so your brain just fills in the blanks based on what you think it should be doing. It's a great reminder that what we see and hear is really just our brain's best guess. All right, let's move on. Now we're going to uncover some of the secret histories and honestly pretty surprising details hidden in things you see every single day. So you've seen the Adidas logo, right? Of course you have. But have you ever noticed there are actually two different ones? Well, there's a wild story behind that. It all started back in 1924 with two brothers, Adi and Rudolf Dassler. They got famous after sponsoring the Olympian Jesse Owens. But then, in 1949, they had this massive falling out. I mean, a huge family feud. So they split the company. Adi went on to form Adidas, and his brother Rudolf, he founded Puma. Yep, two of the biggest sportswear giants on the planet were born out of a sibling rivalry. And that history really explains why you see two different logos today. That classic one, the leaf-looking thing called the trefoil, that's for the Adidas Originals line. Think of it as their lifestyle and fashion brand. It's usually a bit more expensive. Then you have the angled 3 bars, which kind of looks like a mountain. That's for their performance line, the actual gear for sports, which is usually more affordable. So there you go. Now you know which logo is for the street and which one is for the track. Okay, here's another thing you've seen a million times, but maybe never really thought about. Horseshoes. We've been nailing metal plates to horses' feet for centuries, but why? Do they actually need them? And the big question, doesn't it hurt them like crazy? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. It's all about protection. See, horses in the wild are running around on soft ground, like dirt and grass. But domestic horses, they're often on hard stuff, like concrete or pavement, and that would totally wear down and crack their hooves. And the best part? No, it absolutely does not hurt them. The outer wall of a horse's hoof is made of keratin, which is the exact same stuff your fingernails are made of. There are no nerves in there, so a good farrier putting on a horseshoe is basically just giving the horse a manicure. All right, pay close attention to this next one, because it might just change the way you shop forever. I'm talking about that bar of soap you use every single day. Is it actually helping your skin, or could it be doing more harm than good? Well, the secret lies in a tiny 3-letter acronym you've probably never even noticed on the wrapper, TFM. So TFM stands for total fatty matter, and it is, hands down, the best way to know if a soap is any good. Here's the breakdown. Based on the Bureau of Indian Standards. Grade 1 soaps. Those are the good ones. They have 76% or more TFM, and they're going to be nice and gentle on your skin. But then you've got grade 2 and grade 3 soaps. With lower TFM, they can be really harsh and drying. So seriously, next time you're at the store, forget the fancy smell or the cool box. Flip it over and look for that TFM grade. Your skin will definitely thank you for it. And that brings us to our final section. And for this one, we're going to take a look at two extremes: the incredible, almost terrifying fragility of the human body, and on the flip side, our amazing ingenuity to overcome those limits. I want you to just try and imagine something for a second. It's pretty much the ultimate nightmare. Imagine you're awake, your mind is crystal clear, you can hear everything, you can think, you can feel, but you can't move a muscle. You can't speak, you can't even blink. This is the absolutely horrifying reality for people with locked-in syndrome. I mean, this condition literally traps a person's mind inside a body that's become a prison. They have no way to tell anyone if they're in pain, if they're scared, anything. They are, for all intents and purposes, a prisoner in their own body. It's just a truly terrifying reminder of how fragile that connection between our mind and our body really is. But here's the thing about people. For every problem, we fight back with ingenuity. So let's pivot from that darkness to something amazing. Look at this thing. It's called a vein finder. And it's a brilliant little device that solves a very common and, let's be honest, sometimes very painful medical problem. So how does this magic work? It's actually genius in its simplicity. The device shines a totally harmless near-infrared light on your skin. Now, the deoxygenated hemoglobin, the stuff inside your veins, absorbs that light. The tissue around it doesn't. So the device just looks at the light that bounces back, and in real time, it projects a perfect map of your veins right there on your arm. How cool is that? No more getting poked and prodded over and over again. And speaking of incredible tech, let's talk about power for a second. Look at this number. 15,000 years. What do you think that represents? Well, that's how long a car could run nonstop on just 2 kilograms of uranium. The amount of energy packed into that stuff it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. And to put that power into a really sobering perspective, think about this. The bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima used 68 kilograms of uranium. But of all that material, less than 1 single gram actually converted into energy. Less than a gram caused that level of devastation. That just goes to show you the truly unimaginable power that's locked inside every single atom. Which, brings us full circle, right back to our very first question. That tiny shard of ceramic and that super tough car window? We've seen all kinds of hidden properties and weird physics today, and now it's time to finally put this puzzle together. Okay, here's the secret. That little piece of ceramic comes from a spark plug, and it is incredibly hard, way harder than glass. And when it breaks, it creates these tiny, razor-sharp points. Now, car windows are made from tempered glass, which means they're under a huge amount of internal tension. It's what makes them strong. So if you hit it with something blunt, like a hammer, the force spreads out. But when one of those tiny, super hard ceramic points hits the glass, it focuses all of that energy onto a single microscopic spot. And that's all it needs. That one tiny puncture releases all that built-up tension at once and, boom, the entire window just explodes. And really, that's the perfect way to wrap this up, isn't it? From the soap you use, to the shoes you wear, to a tiny piece of a spark plug, our world is just full of everyday things that have incredible science and secret stories behind them. It really makes you wonder, right? What other secrets are hiding all around us, just in plain sight, waiting to be discovered?